What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sunny in the Belt podcast. This is episode number 4. My name is Jacob,
What's up, guys? I'm Jordan.
and we cover all things Sunbelt sports, especially when it comes to conference play, and we share with you our picks for conference matchups. So thanks for joining us. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter, like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment. We'd love to interact. So let's get started with recapping Thursday's picks. Jordan, if there's a game that stood out to you out of the 6 games on Thursday night, what would it be?
Yeah, went 3 for 3. Not a terrible night. Felt pretty good with some of the picks. The one game that stood out to me was definitely the Little Rock South Alabama game. Was not expecting that big of a blowout by South Alabama. I really did think Little Rock would cover that 15.5-point spread, but give credit to South Alabama. They came out rolling and they never really stopped. And unfortunately, Little Rock just seems like one of those teams where they just don't have the depth or really that much of the talent right now. Hopefully they can adjust that and get that fixed by next year. But that was my game that really kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, that game was exciting with South Alabama winning by 30 plus points. I do want to give you credit in your game of the day pick for Thursday. I think that Troy Arkansas State game was very fun to watch. It was exciting. Those are two of the better teams in our conference this season. Although Troy won, but they didn't cover. But it was just a fun game to watch. So I wouldn't say super surprising in the final score. It was close. Top 3 teams in the conference, 2 of the top 3 teams in the conference, but fun game to watch nonetheless. So our current standings since we started recording these from the first 3 episodes, right now Jordan and I both sit at 8 and 9. So we're going to try to pull it back into the positives and get some good momentum going. Starting off with this first one, we got Georgia Southern at Coastal Carolina. Coastal's a 4-point home favorite. Jordan, who you got in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to take, give me Georgia Southern +4 here. I'll do the take on Coastal Carolina. They're kind of struggling lately. They haven't really won. They've lost past 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. They're not really playing good basketball. Georgia Southern, they're kind of in the same boat, but for the most part, I just like Georgia Southern with the points here. I can see it being a close game. I can see Coastal even winning it, but I think it's just going to be just too close to call. So I'm going to take Georgia Southern with the points.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on this one. You and I are going to go into this one together with Georgia Southern +4. Given my take on Georgia Southern, I think right now they're trying to play really solid basketball. You can tell that their coach and coaching staff is very disciplined in their approach. We've seen them play some really close games with teams that are maybe better than them talent-wise in our conference. So I think with that all in play, I think Georgia Southern will be able to match, if not be better than Coastal Carolina. And I think 4 points, whether Coastal wins or they lose outright, I think 4 points gives us enough cover to come out with a dub in the first game of this Saturday. Next one, we got UT Arlington at Louisiana. Both teams are coming off of losses. In Thursday's game, and sit at the same spot on our conference table at 5 wins and 7 losses in conference play. And we're getting closer and closer to that, to our conference tournament. What you got in this one, Jordan?
Yeah, man, it's just so disappointing to see Louisiana just struggle this year. It really is. They just are not executing. They lost to Texas State by like 9. They had it close for a good portion of the game. just couldn't get it done. UTA, they're not really playing that best basketball either. They're kind of on the same path as UL this year, kind of just a little below average. So I'm going to take UTA plus the points. I can see Louisiana winning. 5 points is a little bit too much here for me, especially with how UL is playing, even though it's at home. UL hasn't really been all that great at home this year, to be honest. So give me UTA plus the points. I hope Louisiana wins. I just can't see it being, a 7-8 point victory here.
Yeah, I'm also taking UTA plus 5 for the same reason as you. I'm a little more confident that Louisiana wins the game, but agreeing with you, I don't know. I'm less confident that they'll win it by more than 5, if that makes sense. I think it's going to be a close one throughout. It is disappointing, Jordan. I look at the teams on paper, and Louisiana on paper is one of the most, if not the most talented basketball team from top to bottom in our conference. There's some depth that's lacking, right? You have some players who are currently injured or some players coming off injury, and it seems like it's a carousel, but top to bottom, our team is the most talented. That's why I think they win, but I'm not sure if they cover tonight. UTA is one of the most talented players in the conference in Missouri. And we'll see what happens. Should be a good one. I think it's going to be a close affair, but I also have UTA plus 5. All right. Texas State at UL Monroe. Our followers, UL Monroe. Who you got in this one, Jordan?
Yeah, man. UL Monroe is on just a very good win streak right now. Last 3 games, they played really good basketball. They've won all 3. Texas State coming off a very good win as well. This is a tough one for me just because ULM has been very good to me recently. I've taken them a lot and they've come out on top. Last game especially kind of was just a very good win against UTA. But for this one, Texas State just seems to be overpowering. It's at ULM, which will help a little bit. But I have Texas State here. They're just playing too good of basketball. They're the better team, obviously. They just have more talent. Coaching, I feel like it's sort of an even playing field. I like ULM's coach. But at the end of the day, I feel like just the talent separation between these two teams is going to pull Texas State. So I got Texas State minus 5 here.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm going to ride with the points, though. We got a home team with 5 points. I think the people of Monroe are going to come out for this one on a Saturday. It's a Saturday game. It's a home game for the Warhawks. They're on a 3-game winning streak. I don't know if there's been that much excitement around ULM sports in a long time. They did have a pretty good, they went from winning 0 games in football to winning 5 games this past season. So, maybe stuff is starting to pick up. My wife is from Monroe, so
there you go.
the longer I've been with her, and every time I visit, I kind of find myself rooting for them more and more. As a UL alum, I don't really see them as a rival because usually rivals.
The thing is, out of all the, you talk about rivals in the Sun Belt to UL, you think of Coastal, App State,
Georgia State in basketball,
right? But ULM, they're the in-state rival. I've never really liked ULM just because of that reason, but I've always wished and hoped they would do well because it helped UL.
I find myself rooting for them, sort of like you root for the underdog.
Right.
Like you want to see them do good. I think ultimately when they do better, it makes the state look better as a whole. Like it was a cool stat that we were the only Division I football team in the state with a winning record this season.
Right.
But that's also disappointing.
It is disappointing. Yeah, you expect a lot more from Louisiana. So, but I got
cool. We're splitting on this one. You got Texas State minus 5. I've got the Warhawks plus 5. We'll see what happens. All right, next one. This one could be
This is an interesting one.
Yeah.
This is my game of the week, actually. Georgia State at App State. App State, with a 16-10 record, 10-3 overall. They were 1.5 point underdogs. And you know what? I agree. I feel like the bookies kind of know something here. It's kind of a very weird line. You would not expect App State to be underdogs at home with clearly the much better record, the number one team in the Sun Belt against Georgia State. But what have we been saying all this time, Jacob? Georgia State is the sort of the standard for Sun Belt basketball, and they've been playing a lot better. Coming off a big win, App State, overall they're very good. But I for some reason I like Georgia State here at -1.5. I just have a feeling that they're going to be the ones coming out on top in this game. It's going to be a statement game for them. So hopefully it turns out it'll be a very disappointing pick, because we're going to be like, oh, what were we thinking? Having given App State 1.5
as the conference leader at home.
Yeah, it's just going to be like, oh man, did we miss this big time? But yeah, man, I got Georgia State here. I just have a feeling they are playing very good basketball towards the end of the season, and I have a feeling, watch out, that they could easily get back to the Sun Belt Championship before we know it. And that's just how it is. So
yeah, I'm also picking Georgia State -1.5. All mad respect to App State being 10-3 in conference play, the first team to get the double digits in conference wins. They're currently in first. I think even if they lose this game, they still retain first place. Now they can't drop more than one, but I just think the closer we get to March, this is something I tweeted out on our Twitter account. The closer Georgia State gets to March, the better they get. And one of my early criticisms with Georgia State in like the first episode was that they were really struggling to hit shots. And it's not a talent problem. They're a talented team. They're just struggling to make shots. And now they're making shots. And they're going to be a tough team to beat. Even going on the road, as you said, the bookies obviously know something, making them the favorite. But I think Georgia State takes this one. Not my. It could be game of the day as far as it's going to be a close one. Could be, but not my game of the day. My game of the day is a different one. It's this one, Little Rock at Troy. I went against Little Rock. I had no faith in them at all, so I took South Alabama -15.5 on Thursday, and that paid off because South Al won by 33. This game, however, I'm taking Little Rock and the points +12.5. I think last week we kind of saw this. They were at home last week, but they got blown out in their Thursday night game to UL, and then on Saturday they played ULM super tight, pushing it to overtime, and lost that game by 3 points. So I think that they're tired of losing. People are starting to look down on them, and I think they're going to play Troy pretty close. I think Troy's coming off of a string of wins, and they might get popped in the mouth in this one. I think, without a doubt, Troy wins the game, but by more than 12.5, I don't think so. So I'm going with the Little Rock Trojans +12.5 against the Troy Trojans.
Yeah, you pretty much said exactly what I said last week. I really thought Little Rock would cover that 15.5 point spread. I was dead wrong.
On Thursday.
On Thursday, excuse me. Yes, on Thursday. So it's definitely sort of tough for me to pick them again, especially just because we both know Troy is playing very good basketball.
Got a great coach.
This game is at home. Great coach. Just some very big wins. I, on the other hand, learned my lesson from last week. I saw nothing from Little Rock. I see nothing moving forward. in my opinion, this team is dead and gone. You can say, they're looking to, reestablish themselves or come back stronger, pop them in the mouth, whatever you can do. At the end of the day, this team just isn't talented. This team just doesn't have an identity. Whereas Troy does have an identity. They are at home. They should win this game pretty easily. And I do think they're going to win by more than 12 points. So give me Troy minus 12.5. I'm hoping this one works out for me. Troy really hasn't let me down so far, even though they didn't cover the spread. They only missed it by 1 point. So I like Troy here minus 12.5. Hopefully this one pays up for me and they don't end up winning by 12 or 11. But I feel like what you said, Troy wins this game pretty easily. It's just a matter of whether they can cover.
Yep. And then last but not least, let's keep this one short. I think we both agree on this one. Who you got in this game?
Yeah, Arkansas State +6. This was kind of a surprising line. Not so much that South Alabama is favored, but by 6 points.
Yeah, I think it's skewed. It's skewed based off Thursday's game. South Al's coming off that 33-point win. Arkansas State lost by 2 to Troy.
But if you look at the other games in the past, it doesn't really add up. So, it's kind of just South Alabama could win. I feel like they have a good chance, but I just don't like it at 6 points. So I got Arkansas State at +6 here.
Yeah, I also have Arkansas State at +6. I think Arkansas State's a very talented team. I think just when they matched up against Troy, and that was the game of the day on Thursday, they matched up against Troy, who's also a very good team, and I think home court advantage, it wasn't super packed in Troy, Alabama for that game, but home court advantage definitely played a role, and you saw Troy pull it off by 2 points. It was tight all the way to the end. Arkansas State had a chance to win it at the buzzer, took a shot for 3, didn't go in, and they lost. I don't think South Al is as good as Arkansas State, and to give Arkansas State 6 points even on the road, I think they take this one. So recapping our Saturday picks, we got we both have Georgia Southern +4. We both have UTA +5. So Georgia Southern +4, UTA +5. We're splitting. I'm taking the Warhawks +5. Jordan's going with Texas State to cover. Both have Georgia State -1.5. We're splitting on the Little Rock and Troy. Interested to see if my pick will pay off.
Right.
And then both doing Arkansas State. So really, it's going to come down. We're tied overall records right now at 8 and 9. It's really going to come down to those ULM Texas State game and Little Rock Troy game to decide who's going to take the lead going into next week. And next week you'll be gone. You're going to Dallas.
Yeah, so thank you. Next week I will not be here. The podcast will still be going though. Jacob is going to have a few guests.
Hopefully a guest picker, yeah.
Yeah, a guest speaker. Hoping to get somebody on there. Also, while I am gone, I want everyone to know next week is the official start of college baseball. And that is a big deal, especially to me. Now, conference play won't be until later in the season. But I know there's some big games, especially I pay attention closely to UL. I know they got UC Irvine, who's coming in at number 20. They're going to be playing them at home. There's just going to be a lot of different really interesting games opening weekend for these teams. And unlike basketball, Jacob, Sunbelt baseball, they're more than a one bid league when it comes to conference tournament, or the overall tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are weeks and there are years where we get 3 teams in, and we're guaranteed at least, we're usually around 2 is when is what we do. So I'm very interested in that. Sunbelt baseball is a very big deal. It's considered one of the best mid-major
conferences. Yeah.
Conferences. In fact, it's
only going to get stronger with Southern Miss coming in, and so.
You got a lot of good baseball to play. So I'm very excited about that. We'll get into that probably when it gets into Sunbelt Conference play. But yeah, that's very exciting. So that's just something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to covering it. If you have any picks different than ours, leave those in the comments below. If there's anything else you want us to talk about, as Jordan mentioned last time, maybe we'll throw out some parlays, maybe 2 weeks from now as we get closer to that. Or maybe we do a conference tournament champion future bet.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do something like that.
I would
But
love to see the line on Georgia State, honestly.
thanks for watching the video. If you are, like and subscribe, follow us on Twitter. We look forward to interacting with y'all, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
See you guys.